Bruce Lee once said, "Fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." And that's what Yoeleo is doing here on the G21, because this is their third iteration of this frame now. They're tweaking it, and getting closer to perfection. In this video, we're going to talk about what's new on the frame, what's not new on the frame, go through the specs, go through how I built it up, take it for a ride outside, and then give you my closing thoughts. So yeah, let's check it out. Okay, so as I said in the intro, many brands these days, especially many Chinese brands, are just pumping out new frames almost every month, it seems like, and it's a bit all over the place, it's not as refined and all that stuff. But Yoeleo, their tactic is less is more, or just keep refining the thing. If it's not broke, don't fix it, get it slowly more towards perfection. So this is the third generation of their gravel frame, the G21, now called the G21 Altera. We saw this at the Shanghai bike show. We had a champagne colored one on our booth back then, but this one in this exclusive Pandapodium paint job is new, and yeah, we'll just go walk through it and see what is new. So first, let's go over what is new on the third generation of the G21. We've got quite a few things around here that are springing out to me. I had one of the second generation, and now we're on the third generation, so I'm playing a bit of a spot the difference. The first thing that you can see straight away is the in-frame storage. We'll talk about that in a minute. We've gone to a round seat post now, a 27.2 seat post, which means you can swap it out for whatever you want. The old one was an aero seat post. It's also got this like chipping away at the back to give some more compliance and a bit more comfort. Again, I'll talk about that when I talk about how it rides. We've now gone to full UDH on the back. So obviously I'm using L2, so I'm not really utilizing the UDH function, but if you do want to use the latest SRAM stuff, you can do that. So yeah, fully compatible with the SRAM UDH stuff, so you can put all that stuff straight on there, all good. Geometry has also been tweaked now, I think especially on the larger sizes. Peak Torque, when he had the second generation, he was complaining of toe overlap. They've since tweaked the geometry, so he no longer gets toe overlap. For me, with these Mahusive tires, I still get a tiny bit of toe overlap, but as a smaller rider, almost all my bikes have toe overlap anyway. So for me, I'm used to it, it's not a big deal. Bottom bracket is also now T47 with the inboard bearings type. So yeah, take note of that. And yeah, like I said, we now have this panda purple paint job if you don't like the champagne color. But if you're not familiar with the old frame, we'll run through the entire frame and all of the specs on it from the top. So first of all, this frame is available in 7 different sizes. I know lots of you guys, taller guys, you're always saying like, oh, I like this frame or I like that frame, but why don't they make it in my size? This thing probably exists in your size. This is the smallest size, I think it's a 45, and it goes up to like a size 60, I want to say, so 7 different sizes, absolutely massive range of sizes. People were joking with me the other day that my stem is actually longer than my head tube, which is yeah, an interesting feature on this, but hey, it's cool, it lets me get in the position that I want to get in. So 7 different sizes on this frame. Weight-wise, this frame here, apparently for a size 56, weighs 1,170 grams, plus or minus 50 grams. That's not light, let's say. Yeah, there are definitely lighter gravel frames out there. You've got the GR1 that's from Quick Pro, and you've got the G Major from VFE, but both of those frames also cost quite a lot more than this frame. So yeah, you do maybe get what you pay for. But tied into that, this frame is actually made from T800 carbon. No fancy T1000 here, and that may sound like a bad thing, but let's not forget, the higher modulus the carbon you go, the more brittle it is, the more likely it is to crack or shatter in a crash. So I think for a gravel frame, to keep it T800, not a bad idea. I think these Yoeleos are pretty tank proof, so for gravel, when weight isn't the most important thing on most people's mind, I think having a few extra 100 grams for some peace of mind and durability, I don't think it was a bad decision on Yoeleo's part. As I said, we also have UDH now at the back, so you can do all the UDH goodness. Means it's basically compatible with almost every group set out there. Bottom bracket, I said T47 internal bearings. Like I said, T47, there's 2 versions of it. Yeah, this is the one with the bearings inside the frame. Fork weight, also not super light. I think 480 grams is the claimed weight of the fork. But again, when you're going over gravel and some rock that you didn't see or some pothole that you didn't see, takes a big hit, especially with the steeper head tube angles that you have on gravel. You don't want a fork snapping on you. So again, a bit of extra weight in the front fork, a bit of rigidity. Some people are going to like that. In total, we've got 5 bottle mount positions. So we've got one here, one on either side of the fork, and there's one also down here next to the bottom bracket. There's a bash guard down here, which I may take off at some point just to save a few grams, but hey, why not keep it on? That's what the frame comes with, a bash guard there. It also comes in the box with a protector for the chainstay, but I don't think it looks very nice and I don't want to cover up this nice graphic, so I just left it off. As I said earlier, we've also got in-frame storage on this one now. Let me see if I can open one up. So as we undo the little clasp and pull out like this, now it's not the biggest storage in the world. You know, I've seen nursery kids with bigger pencil cases than this, but you know, you could fit a few tie levers, a mini pump, a few tubes. I think they'd all fit in there. So yeah, it's not huge, but it's useful. I don't think it's easy to get your hands in and out while you're riding, but like I said, to put your spares, you could easily put in, you know, like I said, some CO2s, a tube, tire levers, some darts. I think I'll go in there. And like I said, we've got 2 of these in the frame. So yeah, better than nothing for sure. And then put it back in. Down we go. Okay. Like I say, not super easy to do while riding, but there is another option they have that you can buy separately, which is just an open hole that you can put your gels in or whatever. But for now, I'm just going to use it to store my spares. Saves having a saddlebag. Tire clearance on this is also absolutely massive. You can see I've got these tires on here that look like monster truck tires at this point. I've got these massive Thunderbird tires on here, which I think are 2.1 inch, 700C. So yeah, absolutely massive mountain bike tires, and they fit fine. Of course, the double Achilles heel of having big tire clearance means you have less chainring clearance, which is also another stat on this bike. So officially, I think max chainring size, if you're using a standard 1x-road spindle, is 42 teeth. I think if you use a wide spindle, you can go up to 44 or 46 teeth, but then your chain line's not going to be great. I think realistically, their claim of 42 teeth is probably the biggest you can get. Some people are saying with gravel racing getting faster and faster, is 42 enough? Personally, I've got a 38 on here, so I've got a 3810. And yes, the 10 isn't the most efficient gear in the world, blah, blah, blah. But when your whole drivetrain's filled with gook and crap anyway, I'm not really worrying about chainline efficiency. For me personally, 38x10 is enough. The other day, anecdotally, going down a hill, I was doing like 58 Ks an hour and still pedaling fine. So yeah, that's with a 38, and if you can go up to a 42, I think for most people it's going to be enough. But if you are doing crazy fast gravel races, you don't want to be dropped because you ran out of gears, right? So definitely something to consider if you are looking for a very fast gravel frame. Make sure you're conscious of the gearing and the size that you'll get on there. Obviously, bigger tires also help with the gearing, but again, it's going to depend on what kind of racing you're doing. At the front of the bike, we have not quite, but almost FSA ACR standard round headset setup. I think the dimensions in terms of the heights are slightly different to the FSA stuff. So I put the CRW handlebar on here and it's stock spacer. And as you can see, the gap under the headset spacer isn't perfect. Yeah, less than ideal for gravel when you're having stuff going in there. But like I said, this is because I'm using the CRW handlebar. If you're using the stock Yoeleo handlebar or using the stock Yoeleo headset cover, you won't have any of these issues. So yeah, if you're going to start mixing and matching parts from different brands, these are the kind of issues you may run into. I could grind down a little bit of the spacer and get it down to be more perfect, but for me, I think it's okay. Like, it's not the most pretty thing in the world, but I've seen worse on some stock bikes anyway. So yeah, definitely something to be aware of. If you're mixing and matching parts, you may have to do some fixing and fettling with headset covers and stuff like this. One other thing about the frame, which doesn't really fit in the spec sheet, is just the packaging as well. The packaging that this frame comes in is absolutely amazing. I think Yoeleo are probably the best in the business at this point in terms of the packaging and the layout of the bike and all of the accessories you get. You have absolutely every accessory under the sun. Everything's labeled perfectly. All of the little foam inserts for your brake hoses inside, every little type of grommet and screw and adapter and cover and different derailleur hangers, absolutely everything. So yeah, props to Yoeleo. Even though it is one of the more affordable Chinese frames, they do not skimp out with the packaging and accessories. So yeah, mad kudos to Yoeleo for that. And yeah, the last spec to talk about of the frame, I guess, is the price. So the RRP is $1,420 US, but there's always a 10% discount code going on, and also on Pandapodium, 10% off. So that brings it down to $1,278 US. In a time when Chinese frame prices are all creeping towards the $2,000 mark, to have something that's like $1,300, I think is respectable. Again, not the cheapest frame in the world. There are probably cheaper frames out there, but for $1,300, I think you're getting a lot of frame for your money. So yeah, kudos to Yoeleo for keeping the prices down and more affordable for the everyday cyclist. But this is my particular build. This is how I chose to build it up, and then we'll jump outside and I'll show you all of the particular components. Okay, so first things first, the weight. So with pedals, bottle cages, computer mount, and a bunch of mud on it, sealant in the tires, all that stuff. Let's see what we're going for. 8.1 kilos. I think for a gravel bike with tires this big, a bunch of sealant in them and a bunch of mud on it, I think is pretty respectable. But yeah, let me just quickly talk through the bike, how I built it up and how we got to that 8.1 kilo weight. Okay, so let me talk you through my particular build, the components I chose, why I chose them, all that stuff. So we'll start from the top and work the way down. So we've got the Yoeleo's own saddle up here. It's actually a surprisingly good saddle. Pretty lightweight, nicely padded, carbon rails, all that stuff. So yeah, nice for gravel. Then at the front, we've got the CRW HB01 handlebars. These are actually a road handlebar, so do not use them on gravel. Do as I say, not as I do. If you use these on gravel, your warranty will be void, so don't do it. But I just wanted to try out this setup and see how 36cm bars would handle on a gravel bike, and I'm really digging it. So yeah, hopefully we'll see more gravel specific bars in 36cm sizes in the future. Going down to the frame, as I said, this is the smallest size, the size 45 in this panda purple color. Absolutely love that. Looks nice, especially with a bit of dirt thrown up on it. Crankset Judas, always reliable side bray. So again, this is the DUB version because we've got T47 in there, so big enough for DUB spindles, all that stuff. Mounted to it, I have a Stone Racing 38 tooth chainring with a 3mm offset. Again, chain lines and what chain size you can put on this and blah 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 is a hugely complicated topic because it depends on so many things. So obviously this side bray crankset is ordinarily a 2x crankset. So putting this chainring on there with a 3mm offset gets the chain line better, but then it gets your chain ring closer to the frame. So if you did want to run a bigger chain ring, you'd probably get one without the offset, but then your chain line wouldn't be as good, etc, etc, etc. Anyway, mine with this 38 tooth chain ring is working fine. I can put half a finger in that gap, so yeah, not a huge gap still, but there is a gap there. On the back we have this absolutely huge cassette. I can't remember the name of the brand, called Soa Road or something. It's a 10 to 50 tooth cassette. It's pretty lightweight. It was around $120. Still testing it. The shifting doesn't seem amazing. I think I still need to play around with a few things, the B screw on this rear derailleur, etc. Speaking of the rear derailleur, it is the L2 ETX, their fully wireless mountain bike derailleur. I'm absolutely loving this. So I've got it hooked up to the road bike shifters, but still here we have the removable battery, and you just charge it with USB-C there. Super convenient. How cool is that? And then installation, boom, we're done. So that's been really cool. The chain retention also great. Like I said, I didn't bother putting a chain protector on here, and I've had 0 chain slap on the frame so far, so that's really awesome. Wheels, also a really important part of this build. These are the brand new Fastsports X series. These are the X4, so 40mm rim hooked up to bird spokes and then Fastsports' own hub. Mine is a limited edition worldwide 1 of 1 with pink hubs, thanks to May from Fastsports for hooking those up. Usually these come with blacky grey hubs, so yeah, no pink hubs for you. These wheels have been super impressive. I do like deep wheels on a gravel bike. I think it looks cool. Whether or not it's useful is a question mark, but hey, aesthetics are part of the game. And yeah, the bird spokes definitely do a job of vibration absorption, some damping of that stuff. It just takes out the buzziness of riding on gravel sometimes. So like I said,
this thing rides like a bit of a Cadillac. Bottle cages are also the Yoeleo carbon bottle cages. I can't remember the specific weight. They're not super light, but obviously not heavy, but they grip the bottles really, really well. I think that's important, especially for gravel. You don't want to be bottles yeeting out when you're in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the race or whatever, and having no liquid. So having nice, grippy cages, super, super cool. Shifting and braking is at the front, handled by L2 ER9. So it's like the budget version of the ERX, but it's only a little bit cheaper, so most people just usually buy the ERX. But these ER9 was left over from the Shanghai Bike Show build we did, so I just put those on here for this build. Pedals, also nothing special. I believe these are the MT520 Shimano pedals. So again, definitely not light. There's weight to be lost there and stuff. But yeah, just keeping this build a bit real and everyday kind of build stuff. Wrapped around these 4Sports wheels, I have the Schwalbe Thunderbird mountain bike tires. So Peak Talk put these on his build as well, and he had reliability issues, I think just because he's a heavier rider. But for me, these have been amazing. So they're really lightweight, they roll really well, they feel super supple, and they are grippy as anything. So yeah, I've really been enjoying these tires. And like I say, they're nice and big and fit in the frame perfectly. So yeah, Thunderbirds, if you're a lighter rider, definitely recommended. So how does it ride? Well, surprisingly, not that much different to the old one. Like I say, I've built it up with different components to the old one, so it's hard to do an apples to apples comparison on just the frame. But a few things I did notice out riding. Number one, the handling is nice. I think it's always been super nice, but now I've got a 36 centimeter handlebar in there. I think it makes it handle more like a road bike when you're on the road. But when you're off-road, I think it's still fine, especially with the flared drops. When your hand's in the drops, it still feels wide enough to go around the terrain and stuff. I do feel this seat post is more comfortable than the old seat post as well. Again, hard to do an apples to apples comparison because I'm using the bird spokes now and I've got bigger tires at lower pressures, but I do feel like this seat post is doing some work with taking out some of the bigger knocks that you find in the road. The Yoeleo saddle also surprisingly comfortable. Most of my road bikes, I all have carbon spokes, skinny tires at high pressures and bare carbon saddles. So on this bike, I've got big mountain bike tires, bird spokes, a comfortable seat post and a comfortable saddle. So this thing for me rides like super, super smooth. Frame wise, I don't think the frame is quite as comfortable as the VFE G Major. That bike has some voodoo in it that just absorbs all of the vibrations, and with its split seat post design, I think that absorbs more as well. But this is more comfortable than the old one, and yeah, comfortable enough for a gravel bike for sure. Also, another thing I could attribute to the 36 centimeter bars, I think, is just how fast this thing feels, like especially on the roads when you're going to the gravel. This thing, you don't feel at a big disadvantage to a road bike, to be honest. As soon as you go in the aero HUD's position, this thing, yeah, it just rolls and rolls and rolls. So yeah, zero complaints there. If you want a gravel bike that's versatile, being fast on road and gravel, I think this is a good choice. Some people look at the geometry and they say the front end is too low, and again, they might be right, but for me personally, that just makes the bike a lot faster on the roads because you're able to get a lot more aero. But yeah, you do your research, compare the geometry to a bike that you know or a bike you're familiar with and go from there. But yeah, I definitely have this set up in basically a road bike with mountain bike tires kind of setup, and yeah, it's working really well for me. But yeah, in conclusion, what do I think of this, the third generation of the Yoeleo Altera G21? In general, I just think it's a really solid all-round gravel bike that's really versatile to build. So like I say, solid just because of the frame, you know, it's not a ballerina, it's not scared of taking a few knocks here and there. Yeah, the extra weight definitely gives you some rigidity there. All-rounder, I think it's kind of good options in terms of tire clearance and everything. Like it's not going to be, you're not going to be forced into any specific corner of gravel. It's kind of a jack of all trades and just versatile to build just because you've got so many options. You can build up 1x, you can build up 2x, 700C wheels, 650B wheels, different kinds of seat posts, different kinds of handlebar setups. You know, you're really, really versatile in what you do with this thing. You can put a flat bar mountain bike handlebar on there. Like you can do anything. So yeah, I really like how versatile this is. But we can sum it up with what I like and what I don't like about it as well. So first of all, likes, I'm going to say number one is the price. As I said earlier, there's definitely some price creep going on with Chinese frames. So when we have a Chinese brand that's keeping the prices down, 2 thumbs up for that. Yoeleo, well done, keeping the price down. Like I said,
Now with the discount code on Panda Podium, $1,278 for the frame. Absolute bargain. Second thing I like is the tire clearance. Again, you probably don't need this big tires. If you're using tires this big, maybe you should be on an XC bike, but it's a cool vibe. I like it. And I love the aesthetics of it as well. Third thing I like is the geometry of the bike. As I said, on the road, going down descents, all that stuff, it feels super nimble, super lively. I think they did a really good job on the geometry with this one. Moving on to things that I don't like, or the negatives in my opinion. Number one is the weight. So again, you can't have your cake and eat it. I can't say, oh yeah, it's really solid, but I don't like the weight, because these things are kind of hand in hand. But yeah, the weight, if you are trying to build a super light gravel bike, this may not be your best starting point. Do you need a super light gravel bike? You guys be the judge. But yeah, the weight for me is the first kind of like negative. The second negative is the color options. So as standard, previously there was only one color, the champagne color, and it was kind of like love it or hate it. And now on Panda Podium we have this second color. I tried to make a color that was a big contrast to the kind of, I won't say boring, toned down champagne color. So I tried to do something a bit bright, but still that means you only have two color options. It would be nice to have some more color options. Now, Yoeleo do support custom colors, and you can get in touch with us if you want it to be custom colors, but obviously you're gonna be paying more for that, and the kind of money kind of adds up pretty quickly. So yeah, if you like this color, go for this color. If you like the champagne, go for the champagne. And if you really like this frame but don't like any of the colors, then you can spend a bit more money and get a custom paint job as well. And the third thing, I'm kind of nitpicking I guess, is the in-frame storage. So I like this one down here. I think this could just stay like this, where you can use it for like your spares or stuff that you have to get off the bike to access. But I think this one up here, by default, it would be cooler if it was more of a thing that's quick in to quick to get out, so you can put your nutrition in here basically. I wish it came like that by default. So one for off the bike spares, and then one for nutrition basically, or fuel while you're riding. As it is now, trying to get fuel out of this while you're riding would be a bit of pain in the butt. So yeah, nitpicking, but that's one thing I wish they could do. But yeah, that is the Yoeleo G21 Altera. You guys let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions, and as always, I'll be there answering them. Also, let me know what you think of this paint job. Like it, love it, hate it, let me know. I've got pretty thick skin. I did design this myself, but don't worry, I won't cry if you don't like it. Thanks to Yoeleo for sending the frame over. Obviously, I've been working with Yoeleo on the channel now for I think 7 years was the first video I did with Yoeleo, and I was a paying customer of Yoeleo before I even started the channel. So yeah, me and Yoeleo go back ages, so obviously it makes sense that we sell Yoeleo over on Panda Podium. That's about it for this video. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video, and I'll see you in the next one. China Cycling out.